Welcome to CF 2.0 Geek Out, where we deep dive into ClickFunnels 2.0 and how to use it to grow your funnel building business.
Hey, I'm Susan.
And I'm Andrea.
Come along with us as we learn and discover how to use the new ClickFunnels and how to make it bend to our will. Hey, everybody. Welcome to CF 2.0 Geek Out. We've got our countdown working again. Today we have Dan Havey on with us, which is going to be fun. We're going to talk about some cool things that he's been working on, and I think it's been really awesome. Andrea, what do you have to add?
Well, I'm excited. So I think a little teaser, hopefully I'm not giving it away too much, is Dan's been listening to us. I'm not going to say complain, but like maybe point out the potential issues with 2.0 navigation inside of a ClickFunnels membership area, specifically the thing that we call wayfinding. And he has some treats for us later on how we can maybe address that. So that's exciting.
Shout out to Ivy and Jordan, who are watching with us live right now.
Jordan.
Hi, ladies. And there's some other people. Hey, guys, if you're watching live, please tell us that you're here. Tell us that you are watching. And then, of course, if you have questions along the way, ask them in the comments. Andrea and I are both going to be watching the comments, and we will make sure that your questions get answered. Okay. Yeah. So Dan, do you want to go ahead and share your screen? So
sure.
If you guys didn't catch the live that Andrea and I did last week, we were talking about magnetic marketing, which is Russell Brunson's new venture. He bought Dan Kennedy's company, and he put out his first offer with a new funnel that is built in 2.0. And so, Dan, I think that's what you're going to go over. So Andrea and I tried to break it down last week for you, but Dan definitely has his much more expert perspective on things. So this is going to be new stuff for Andrea and I too. So this will be fun.
Yay.
Okay, yeah. So first off, I just wanted to show you guys here real quick inside of the ClickFunnels thing that they gave us after Funnel Hacking Live, just to let you know that you're not missing anything because nothing has changed in here. So don't worry, you're not missing anything here. And then on the membership area, again, here, you're not really missing anything because there's nothing in here either. So sorry to not give you a Christmas present there. But inside of the membership areas, there is one thing that we discovered last week or the week before is, so they are moving forward. Just to let you guys know, they are moving forward with this, and they are starting to actually build some live sites in the software. But they did put in this now mark completed. All it does at this point is basically it's a previous next. It's not actually recording it anywhere that we can tell. So I went to the next lesson here. You can tell by the title changing up here at the top. Now, if we click go back, it's pretty slow. And the reason why is because every single page has to load every single time. And so that's why we're going to show you a little video I shot at the last week for the ladies here to show them some things I was doing just inside of the editor in order to change up how we can present the membership areas inside of 2.0. I still don't have access to the software, but because I was able to go into the editor, I was able to change some things. And I would have done it live, but I didn't know that Joanne and Susan wanted to see that. So we'll just play the video for you.
Dan, before you, sorry, just really quick on that note, just because in case they haven't been watching, if you go back to that page, in case they haven't been watching, you said something really important that I don't know that people would pick up on unless they have been watching, which I think is critical. So if I understand what I've learned from you and our analysis of 2.0, in 1.0, in a membership area, we have a section and a lesson, and those are sub spaces, let's say, of that membership area. Versus in 2.0, these are like same level in the hierarchy, right? In terms of like, they're all almost its own page in and of itself. And so when you said it takes time for it to load, it's because we're not loading like a sub of something. We're actually loading a whole new page every single time. Is that a good summary?
Right. Because in here, let me just go back to this here. Each one of these, so when you click on any one of these are your 4 courses. When you click on one of these courses, then you can see up here that it's reloading a page because it has to go to a separate page loads the page every single time. And then here are your lessons. And one thing I noticed when I was doing some work on this is there are no sections. You got courses and then you got lessons. There are no sections like you have in 1.0, which again, I don't much care for that. But now when we click on start the lesson, again, it's going to load a completely separate page. This is really more like how WordPress works than 1.0 because everything is an individual page. And because of that, it goes so much slower and it's a lot harder to be able to do some of the cool stuff that we like doing inside of the membership areas.
Yeah, which also would make complete sense why we keep talking about there's no wayfinding, because in a model like this, basically anybody can create any navigation structure that they want that seems fit for what they're doing, essentially.
Yeah. And depending if they have some sort of menus or something too, again, I've built menus inside of membership areas in the past where it can do some pretty cool stuff. So until we see really what they're going to give us, is it going to be basically a WordPress clone for building membership sites, or is it going to be some sort of hybrid? We don't know. Yeah. But we may be able to do certain things. One thing I didn't show in the video I gave you guys the other day is what I found interesting is with this element up here, and I think there's one in the next page. This isn't a navigation element. In fact, why don't I just click on it and show it to you? As long as we're talking about this. So this here is, okay, so it's this element right there, which basically it's a subheadline. So you got element subheadline right here. It's a subheadline element, but is broken up into 3 different links, 3 different sets of anchor text here with the A tag. Now, how are they doing that? I don't know. There's 50 pixels of margin between each of them, but I find it interesting that they're doing it just as a sub headline element instead of being a navigation element or being a menu of some sort.
Which that to me too tells me that maybe it's not that universal element, or maybe you and I were looking at the code and we did distinguish a difference between the universal elements and the non-universal elements, right?
Yeah, and I'll show you that when we get to
the
magnetic marketing page.
Okay, and he just a shout out to Vanessa and hello, thanks for joining.
So let's see what we got going on over here.
So am I correct in my lesser understanding of this that it's almost like they just took a sub headline, typed in dashboard 50 spaces or whatever, funnelology spaces, and then challenges, and then just turned them each into a hyperlink? Like, is that what it's appearing like?
No, I don't think it is, because they have, maybe it's not on that one. Let me check here. Well, maybe it was the other page. I'll show it to you on the other one because I know for sure it was on that one. But there's actually 50 pixels of margin in between them, which you couldn't do that if you just like spaced over a bunch. There would be evidence of it here.
Okay.
Like before funnelology, you would have the code for what a space is. It's like, I forget, and it's non-breaking space, NBSP or something it is. Like right here. So this is a non-breaking space.
Okay. So it's like almost like they're using columns, but there's also no evidence of columns either. It's one element.
Well, I take that back now, because in this case here, they do have just 3 spaces in between here. Whereas on the other one, I know that they had 50 pixels.
Oh,
so
okay,
again, I don't think they're nearly done building these things yet. So who knows, as they go forward and over the next month or two before they release it to us, what else is going to be in there.
So is all of this just kind of like just to show that they're not even using a navigation element, possibly because they don't have a navigation element created?
Could be.
Yeah. Because this would not be the easier way to do a menu.
What would really be best is if they built in menus like in WordPress, where everything's going to be a drop-down menu. You build your menu separately, and then you just put it in there using a menu module. And then you have your drop downs and whatnot. Now, again, you would not use that inside of a funnel, but you certainly would use it inside of your funnel hub, and you would use it in a membership area.
Which is really interesting, because like building in WordPress, I think you do need some degree of technical proficiency to really understand what's going on in WordPress. I know people can learn it, but I think it's an interesting play for all of us agency folks out there in terms of like today somebody can pick up, ClickFunnels 1.0, and it's not the most user friendly, but somebody could create a membership area, no problem, right? Like pick up a template, put it together, good to go. We know it's not an amazing experience, but they can do it. If they really do move down this path, I'm so curious on just the experience of building and the technical proficiency that's needed in order to do it.
Well, yeah, and there's going to be a lot of stuff to learn, because I keep looking at it and thinking about all the different. Once we go through what I'm going to show you here, just some of the things I discovered. And in the video I sent you the other day, I said that I was talking to a ClickFunnels employee, guy who's been with the company for many years. You guys would probably know who he was, and I was showing him some of the stuff in there, and I told him, yeah, I'm discovering all of this, and he basically kind of looked at me as like, yeah, you're not quite as dumb as you look. So, but I also mentioned to him, I said, just a massive learning curve. And he goes, yeah, I know. He goes, what we did is we just started at the top left and worked our way down, because they are starting to already, he told me, put out, they are already creating instructional videos for 2.0 for in the whatever you call it, the help desk.
That's a good sign.
Yeah,
and also makes sense if they're going to start giving it to us in the next few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And of course I asked him when, and he said that's the one question they told us to avoid at all cost. Okay. All right. And then I was like, okay, now blink twice if it's January. Okay. He wouldn't blink for me. He wouldn't play along. That's cool. I didn't expect him to. All right. Was there anything else you had questions on here before we go over to the other, and then we come back here? Oh, I know what your question was, Andrea. So in a case here now, this is ClickFunnels. I built this one to look like a jobby, and I got progress tracking and all kinds of stuff in here. But when we click on the next lesson, it's instantaneous. It pulls it up immediately, because on page load, all the content, all the lessons, all the everything load onto the page. And some people are like, oh, well, that makes it really slow. Truthfully, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It loads in like 5 seconds. I don't care how many videos you put on here, it'll load in like 5 seconds. And that's why I normally put some sort of animation, or even just a loading circle spinning or something. People are cool. If they know that they're waiting for a reason, they're okay with it. But this over here, for me, this is just clunky when you got to, every time you want to change that lesson, you got to sit there and wait for that page to load.
But so reconcile something for me, Dan, because I mean, we know that ClickFunnels puts more emphasis on sales funnels than they do in the membership area, right? Like all of us are really painfully aware of that reality. But in this new way of working, they have talked a lot about the increasing, the increased load time, or the decreased load time, as one of the biggest value props in 2.0. So if I'm hearing you right, it sounds like on the membership area, that might not be the case.
Well, you gotta look at what load time means. Okay. And load time specifically is, and I'm going to get this wrong, so somebody knows what it really is, but it doesn't count the amount of time it takes to reach out to the server and then come back. What it counts from is the time that it starts to load to the time it finishes loading.
Okay.
And I think that each one of these different companies that'll give you a load time actually look at it slightly different too. So the time when you see the thing spinning around on the screen, that's because it's going out to the server and finding it and coming back. Then you have, what is the amount of time from first paint to final load? How long does that take?
Well, and we don't, if they're designing it well, we actually don't care about total page loaded, right? Like we just care from the moment that the customer clicks on the thing and there's a visual response on the screen that the customer can do the thing. Like that to me is what load time is.
Right. Well, and that's why here the load time is, a millisecond, because it just flashes for a second and it's there.
Right. But I guess I'm asking, like, why are they saying load time has significantly decreased, but we're worried, at least on the membership side, and again, it could be that disconnect between, the sales funnels versus membership area. But then it sounds like even a
sales funnel, when you click, buy or whatever, and it takes you to the next page, you still have to have the time where it goes out to the server, grabs a hold of the code, pulls it back in, and then paints the page.
Right.
So I always thought that people way over, especially the guys who are fighting against ClickFunnels, I thought they're like, oh, ours is so much better.
Right.
Dude, it's like 0.05 seconds.
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
cares?
I think if you're within the 3 to 5 second range, you're fine. Nobody will make a distinct difference in that, as long as, to your point, if there's good feedback on the screen.
Yeah, the most recent thing I read, I think they said, like the threshold is like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then anything over that, then things like Facebook or Google, they're going to start looking at you going, okay, you're loading too slow. You're ruining the experience for our people, that kind of thing like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're under 3 seconds or 2.5 seconds, whatever the threshold is, you're fine.
Yep.
And within a funnel, somebody isn't going to bounce because of the difference between 2 seconds and 2.5 seconds.
No.
They're not going to go, this thing's too slow.
Yeah.
I remember the commercials from the old dial-up days, the kid laying out in the driveway on the skateboard going, is the page loaded yet? And the screeching noise in the background. And everybody's so damn spoiled these days. So I remember when I was a kid, we didn't have
uphill both ways.
We didn't have computers when I was a kid. So there was no such a thing. So we showed you that here. So again, this is so much better. So now, are you guys ready for the big Dan Kennedy page here?
Yes.
Okay. So this is Magnetic Marketing. This was built by, should I say the guy's name?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay. Gustin's son over in Finland. I actually looked up on a map where he is. He lives in the definition of middle of nowhere. I mean, it's
like a cool exotic middle of nowhere.
Oh, he's like 1,000 miles northwest of Moscow. like seriously, you have internet access. That's just crazy. But in here, there are some glitches, and I reached out to him and I told him, I said, hey, dude, this thing's like bebopping down here at the bottom. So they're going to fix that. And but there are some animations. Let me slide down here on the page. And you come up, and so you got Dan sliding in here, which you can do this in ClickFunnels right now. It's under the animations tab.
That's just really good attention grabber down there at the bottom, Dan. It's like, what is going on? And it's going to make you go look at it.
What's going on down here? Come on down, take a look at me. So you see those, they bebopping up and down. And then as you slide down the page further, that one's not there. So here, Dan comes sliding in. Now, here's one thing that is not in the existing ClickFunnels is that the animations don't reload. And I'm not sure if I like that or not, because every time you scroll down here, do you want to see that?
Right.
You already saw it once. I don't know. And then here you got these two sliding in from the right-hand side.
It gets kind of obnoxious
it kind of does.
Yeah, especially like why would a person scroll back up, right? It's because now they're interested. Like, so you don't need that level of attention demand, right? You need to just give them what they want. They're in pursuit. So at that point, I agree with you. I think the second time around is just gimmicky.
Well, there's a couple of rules, especially like in long form sales letters. And one is you got different ways that people read. One person will start at the beginning and read the entire thing. The second person will come along and they'll go through what is known as the dual readership path, where they'll come along, they'll read the stuff that's in bold, they'll read captions, they'll read stuff in Johnson boxes like this or something. So they'll just pick and choose as they go down the page, and you want to make sure your story runs in the highlighted areas as well as it does in the rest. But then there's a third type of person who starts here at the top. They scroll all the way down to the bottom to see what the price is. And then if the price doesn't make them throw up, then they go back up to the top and they figure out what it is that they're going to buy for that amount of money. So there, you're right. I mean, why keep having this stuff sliding around on the screen if you're just going to go to the bottom, check the price, and then go back up again? Again, assuming this was a long form sales letter, which of course this one is not. So we got some animations on here. Otherwise, looks wise, I don't know, looks the same to me as just about any other funnel builder.
I mean, I will say just a shout out. I think they are using that Pix software, right? Because it looks like they have some dimensions in there. And I mean, they could do that before, but.
Some 3-dimensional.
Yeah, some
product images
on the product. Yeah, stack.
I don't know. I don't really see that on these.
Oh, up above, up. Yeah, they're a little bit right there.
Oh, this here. Yeah, that could easily have been made in Pix.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, but that's something you could just lay a couple of images over the top of each other.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're the Canva girl, not me. I don't know anything about this stuff. But here's some stuff now. So we come in here and we start looking around, and we're going to, let's inspect this element right here. So we'll click here and we'll inspect this top element. And we're going to come up here, and what are we going to see right here is this is a universal section. Okay. So there are actually two universal sections here, one here and one here. And then there's one on the footer of the page down here. So again, for anybody who doesn't know, universal section, you build it once, and then you can use it in as many pages as you want. But then also, if you come back in here, let's say we decide, oops, I didn't want to do that. We decide we want to change this text, or we want to change this element here. We'll change it here, and it will change it on every single instance you have across all of your funnels inside of your account.
And that's that universal element that we've been talking about that we love, right? Can't wait for. Amazing time saver.
Yeah. And just so real quick for our blind audience, podcasters coming up. Dan, if you scroll back up just for visual for everyone else.
Oh, you're going to burn this off on audio only?
The two universal sections that we're talking about right now is like the very first one at the very top of the page. It's a red section, and it's an advertisement, right? It's a call to action. It's get a free copy of the #1 bestseller magnetic marketing book today. Just cover shipping. And then the next one is the menu. It's the logo, and then it's the menu. And so I think that's really, really cool just to see, like, I was excited for universal sections for things like the menus and like the footers, but also like it's really cool to see them using it for that top section of the call to action because, and that's a link. It's a clickable link. You accidentally just clicked it a few seconds ago. And so if you want that like on all of your other funnels or like maybe not all of your funnels because you don't want them to be going other places, but on your funnel hub and inside membership areas or something. And if you just want to like have that in multiple places, but you just want to change it out for all of those places, like that's not what I'm marketing right now. Let's switch it over to this other thing. Like then it's really easy to do that. And you don't have to go sift through like, where are all the places that I put that call to action?
It's so true. Well, and this does follow, and Dan, can you make your screen bigger? Because that's driving me bananas. Thank you. Or smaller.
You mean the thing at the bottom you were talking about, right?
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to do, was get rid of that.
Images.
Right. It reminds me of like Clippy from the 90s. That's like, pay attention to me. Pay attention to me. Oh man, there's a reason people hate Clippy. But okay, so on that note, Susan, I love what you just said in terms of just like a time saver of like, where did I put this thing again? Like, I don't know how many clients that I've like made spreadsheets of like all the different places where this element lives so that when we change it, we know where to go back, right? But on that note, the way that this is structured, and Russell doesn't talk a lot about this, but if you analyze how they're doing funnel hubs, this structure is a classic funnel hub structure. Right, where it's like the lead gen at the top, that's super tiny, and then the navigation, and then the hero of the charismatic leader with the tagline, and then their flagship offer, and then the customer journey, and then the media, right? Like this follows the framework of a funnel hub. And they don't talk a lot about what that framework is and why they have it that way. But so again, it's just interesting opportunity for education for people in terms of the best way to structure these funnel hubs, per what they've seen work and how Russell structured his. But we're totally.
Yeah. And then in this case here, this is obviously not a funnel because you have multiple exit points. There's links all over this page. Mm-hmm. So it's not a funnel. It's not intended to be a funnel. It's intended to drive people to your funnels.
Yes.
So again, I clicked on this by accident, but let's just click on this now. We'll see even this here.
They all go to the same thing.
But also here it's sign up now, log in, super, some affiliates. So it's not a funnel page, but this is basically where the members would go, is more or less what this is.
Well, I think this is right. But I think that the reason why he has login on sales pages, I actually started doing it with my clients too, because people lose where their like emails of where to log in. And so it helps reduce our support tickets when we put the login on the sales page. It's not best practice. I don't recommend it, but it did help to reduce our help tickets. And we followed his suit on One Funnel Away because we saw him add it to that. And it did help people to be able to find it again.
I've started doing that too because people remember the root domain of like, I noticed this, the very first time I noticed this was on Funnel Scripts. They don't have it at the top, but it's in the footer. so that it's not totally detracting from the actual funnel. But I was like, man, I don't know how to log into my Funnel Scripts account, but I do know funnelscripts.com, and that's going to take me to the landing page of, the funnel, and then I can scroll down and click login, and that'll get me there. So but then you did show that there's also support and there's also affiliates. And so now we're getting a little, there's a lot of things that, but those things aren't linking to like other offers. Right. So maybe they're not seeing really a problem with putting them onto their funnels now.
Maybe. Yeah.
Well, and again, this isn't necessarily, it's a funnel and it's not. I think this is a multi-purpose page. Whereas, so like here with the funnel hub, one of the things you could do in here is, so I don't think we've said what the URL of this is, and I didn't realize there's going to be people listening to this on a podcast, but if you want to see this page, it's magneticmarketing.com.
Yeah.
And Susan, you might want to put that in your notes for the video.
Yep.
But what you could do on this page up here when you got your about and books and courses and whatnot, why not put in login? So anybody, you're buying magnetic marketing stuff, that's your brand. Somebody comes here, they land in your hub because they don't remember their login. Mm-hmm. So you have login there, they click on it, and you have a listing of all of your different membership areas where they can then click on those and either log in, or if they don't have access, it just sent them to a sales page.
I think in 1.0 that's problematic. If you're not doing a multi-level,
doable.
Right, in 2.0, absolutely. Yeah, because it allows for that multi-level much easier.
Well, and all the conditional everything that we're going to be able to do once we're in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that idea though, Dan, because again, like with all of the different offers and all of the different, Russell's like the king of having a unique domain for every offer that he has. And it's like, I don't know where to log into this stuff anymore. I've lost it. And so having that linked to russellbrunson.com or clickfunnels.com, and there's just a here's all of the things that we offer, and log into the ones that are, and even if it could indicate like these are the things that you have, like if there was a way for them, I don't know that that's possible.
Well, one of the things,
it's not like you're logged into anything at that time when you're looking at that page.
Well, you may have to log in, but one of the things they said they're going to have is what they call it your customer center. And so somebody can go into the customer center and see which products they already bought. So this link I'm talking about may be a link just to the customer center. So they can go into the customer center, see what they have. And what they were saying is that if you have a product, let's say you got a membership site that this person may not have bought, you can mark in there, okay, do you want this showing up in the customer center so they have the ability to buy it when they're in the customer center? So again, somebody can come in there, they don't have it yet, but they said, you can buy this too. It's like Amazon at the bottom. People who bought this also bought these three things. And so you have it there, you click on it, boom, straight away to a sales page.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So I think the possibilities of what they're coming up with are going to be just crazy. But are we ready to go back to the code here?
Yeah.
Okay. So we got the universal elements. We got two of them here, one at the bottom. Well, then as I'm playing around with this, I'm looking around and I started coming up here to the top and I go, oh, wait, what is all this style sheets up here? Well, let's open this one here. So we got our universal style for 54132, which is not either of these. It must be the one at the bottom. So either way, we can come out and do one of the other ones here. 43838. Okay, so that's for one of these at the top. I think the very top one. It has all the code in here, all the CSS code saying what this should look like. So here we got our unique identifier, which is actually a class, which they're using class identifiers in here instead of using data titles or IDs. And so we have that here, but we see all the padding for each element here. And we come down, we got some margins and text alignments, line heights, font family, the whole thing. So every one of these universal elements, as you build it, then you say, okay, well, I want it in this page over here. Well, it has to grab the entirety of that code, the CSS, the whole thing, and bring it over and put it in here. And that only makes sense because your only other choice would be to have it reach out to an external CSS file. And that's just one more server call, which loads down or slows down the load time. So it actually takes all the code and puts it right in here. So it all loads at once. So I think that's going to be super cool. And like I said, it'll speed up the load time. But then you come up here to the top, and so we got
and just a really quick on that, Dan, too. Sorry to interrupt, but just I think the ramifications of what that means is if you go back to like one of Susan and I's earlier things, where we really, really encourage all of you guys to have your branding guide like ready to go, because what that means is basically now I can come in and I can make consistent branding across all my universal elements, and I don't have to worry about it on a per funnel level. So if I have my branding guide ready, it's just going to be a huge time saver to be able to apply it once and it shows up everywhere.
How do I manage to close that? Or did I? Okay, here we go. Inside of here, where is it? Right down here, themes.
Yep. Okay, so inside of the ClickFunnels 2.0.
Right, so we're back into ClickFunnels 2.0, and I'm on overview, and at the bottom it says themes. Yep. And so you're going to be able to set up multiple different themes, which you can then pull into this. So you set up a theme with a bunch of red and black on it, like the magnetic marketing site. You then pull that theme in. Well, that's what I think this is here, blueprints style. So this is going to show you all of the styling for this particular theme, and then you're going to be able to have multiple different themes. So if it's not that one, it's one of these other ones here. It's a little hard to tell just by looking at the code. It's not until I really get inside the code and I can start playing with it to see what changes what. But so you have the ability to set up themes. Well, then let's come down here to this one here, and it says style image V1. Well, what does that indicate to you? V1.
I don't know.
Version 1?
Yeah, I mean,
that's your version 1 of your images. How many versions of images can you create?
So like split testing different images.
Let's say you want on one page, you want images all with a certain border around it. Okay, well, on a different page, you want all your images with a certain box shadow around it. And on a different page, you want something else, and you want different hover effects on this one than you want on the other one. You can build different buttons. You can build different images. And then you just click, oh, I want image number 3 for this theme, or I want image number 3 for this page. And it pulls that in. It's already been pre-built by you.
Which, again, just to plug an idea for all of you agency folks out there, what that translates to me is you can easily create an image pack with your brand guide, right? Where it's like, get 5 image packs with your brand guide that you can easily plug and play, giving you multiple options across funnels. Right?
Cool.
Well, and from an agency standpoint, what they also said is that we'll go back over into the ClickFunnels. What do you call this? Back office? What would you call this? It's not the editor, really.
Yeah.
When we come back in here, one of the things
master setter of operations.
Yeah. mission control. How's that?
Mission control. There we go.
So you come back in your workspace here, and they said what you can do is you can build out these workspaces and build out the whole thing. You can build out your teams. You can build out the themes. You can build out your carts. You can build out all your memberships and products and everything in here. And then you just hand the entire workspace off to somebody else.
Yeah.
You don't have to go in and figure out everything and then go into their ClickFunnels account and put their products back in and do all that. You just take the entire workspace, you sell it to them, you transfer it into their account, and you're done.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah, one click. And so from an agency standpoint, that's going to be huge.
Yeah.
So we got here multiple different buttons, multiple different images. And it was at this point here, the guy I was talking to at ClickFunnels, that's when he gave me the look like, you're not as dumb as you look. I said, I think I'm onto something here. And then you got page node styles. Let me see, which is which down here. Okay, you got a style guide. And then here, root, this means that these are what we call CSS variables. They're called something else too, but I forget what they're called. Well, we set this up here. And so here we got 6 different colors. So inside of this particular theme, you also set 6 different colors, which then as you're going through, you can pick which color you want. So you don't have to keep thinking or typing in the color again or doing anything like that. But then also here, we got here headlines. We have headline, extra large, large, medium, small, and we set the size for each one. Then you have your subheadlines for them, small, medium, large, extra large. And then you also have your content, small, medium, large, extra large. So you set up ahead of time 12 different font sizes if you want that many. And then you just click on wherever inside of, as you're building this, I go, no, I want subheadline 3. Boom. Now, can you also have that subheadline 3 is also red, whereas subheadline 2 is blue? Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But I think I'm seeing just a ton of flexibility in here built into these themes. And that may be more of the learning curve is building the themes than just building the funnels.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. And so there's all kinds of other stuff in here. Nothing in particular, but here we got those are data sections. Never mind. I was gonna say they're data titles, but they're not. But then also, what was in here? A lot of the same stuff. But either way, so all of this essentially is created ahead of time, and then you kind of plug and play it and put it into the page.
Yeah.
And so that's some pretty cool stuff there.
Which is super interesting. Yeah.
That's going to be really cool because it's not only going to be a time saver, but it's going to help people, businesses be able to keep their brand consistency, which I think has been a very sore, I want to say sore spot or something. I don't, it's just really difficult for people to do with funnels. Right. I don't know what it is, but like they'll have a website and then they'll go and make a funnel and they look like totally completely different brands. And you're like, why didn't you just make this look the same? And it's because there's a learning curve, right? So having these themes in there where you can just have your brand already preset is going to make it so much easier for people to just make their brand consistent across everything that they have out there.
Yeah. Well, and all the templates, right? I mean, the templates that ClickFunnels gives us are kind of in that, I hate to say it, but like that bro marketing infomercial infographic, you know what I mean?
And
like
people grab those templates and they use it and they don't think about like, oh, I need to make this actually look on brand.
Right.
Which would be interesting to see, like, okay, if they're going to have templates and they're going to have the themes. So if I go and pick a template and say, this is the template I want, is it going to apply my theme to that template?
That's a really interesting question.
Cool.
You think it would have to, but yeah, that would be awesome.
Well, yeah, whether it's at the theme level or if it's at the level of the elements, whereas you got a button and you go in there and go, okay, well, I want my button number 3 to replace this button. That's probably more accurately, because otherwise, I mean, if you got a template and then you got what you're building, the sections and the rows are not going to match up.
One thing that I hope they don't go down though is like, you know how WordPress, they have all these different themes that you buy, and each theme has their own little unique nuance of what it can or can't do. And there's a compatibility with different builders out there. You know what I mean? And all the different builders are all just a nightmare in terms of learning each builder. Like, I really hope they don't go down that path and they control the way that you interact with themes and create a theme, and they control the builder, right? And then we can just add some innovation on top of that. But those core elements are not different in terms of how we engage with them and how we, use them in ClickFunnels. Because that's I think one of the biggest pain points with WordPress is that variability.
Yeah.
Yeah, inside of here, then inside of the code, I don't think there's really much else to show you except for everyone here. So we got section container V1, container inner V2, row container V1. So do these V1s, are those referring to a particular theme? I'm not really sure. Like I said, until we get access to it and we see how things change as we move things around, as we build different themes or whatnot, then we'll get a better idea of exactly what everything means in the code. But beyond that, they're using pretty much the same structure as they did before.
The section, rows, columns, element.
Yeah. And the reason why that is actually technically it's here in this case here. So a section is also known as a container, it has a class of container, and then the rows have a class of row. And then inside of each of the columns, you have a class of call dash MD dash a certain number. And what this indicates is that is being built on Bootstrap, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Because one of the reasons why WordPress and other sites don't perform very well or don't look very good on mobile devices is they're not built on Bootstrap. So have you ever been on a blog somewhere and you're reading the news and you take your finger and you slide it left to right and the content goes with it left to right? That's because it's not built on Bootstrap. You can't do that on ClickFunnels because it is set in place because it determines the number of columns that it will take up and where it will reside inside of Bootstrap. So that's all good. Otherwise, the code is pretty much the same. So there's some cool stuff in here, and yeah, hopefully we'll see it in a couple of weeks.
Okay, so now are you going to unveil the the switch?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, why burden everybody? Let them have their holidays and let's start over again in January, or it could be February. We don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just gonna keep doing other stuff until it comes along, and then because I know once it gets here, I'm 100% in that editor and pumping out content as quickly as I possibly can. So now, were we still?
Yeah.
Well, if they want some ClickFunnels training, just go to cfninjahacks.com or find me on Facebook. No, I was going to say, were we going to still?
Yeah.
What, Andrea?
No, you're going where I'm going.
Okay. Were we still going to show that other video?
Do it. Yeah.
Oh, well, hang on before we do that, because I don't remember what I said in there.
We got him, Susan. Let's go.
So we were talking earlier about how this works, whereas you click on something and it all shows up right away instantaneously because we have it all on one page, all loading at one time. And then we showed in here that as we come in, we got each page loading individually and et cetera, et cetera. So I said to myself, why don't I figure out a way to do this? And because I didn't have access to the editor yet, I actually had to do it right inside of the developer with a little bit of just playing with the code and a little bit of JavaScript. I was able to do what you're going to see right now.
And just to link it back to the conversations, it also has to do with, like, as we've gone through, and it's like the clicking, and we don't know where we've been and where we're at and where we're going challenge in what we're seeing in 2.0. And Dan has come up with an option.
You call it wayfinding. And so in this case here, the way I built this is there is no wayfinding because you don't leave the page. It's all right there. Now, other versions of this we could build in different ways. We could also build in sections if we wanted to, and we could build in breadcrumbs if we want to. So there are other ways of being able to show people where they are. And then again, we still haven't answered the question of what are they going to be doing for the progress tracking? Will it actually be showing like here? Would you have like a nice little check mark right here to show us that we've completed this lesson or that we've favorited the lesson, just like I did over here, where we can put in the here we mark that as complete and we mark this as a favorite. So, and then of course when you reload this, you come back, it's there. What are they going to do in here? We'll find out in a couple of months, but let's play that video. And I will look over here to see if it actually shows up.
All right, here we go. I'm going to move this over.
Oh, I probably got to stop my share, right?
You guys are probably not going to see it, actually, but you will maybe be able to hear it because I have it full screen for everybody else. So here we go.
Okay, I got something cool to show you guys. So you know what this looks like here. So let's just go back here. So we're on these are our courses. We click on our course. Then we get to this page here where we have the listing of our lessons. And then of course, as we know, we have to click on this to go to the next page. So, and there's really no go back or way back or, wow, hey, that actually worked. I don't think that had been working before. So that go back button actually worked. And then let's see here, we mark complete is what I saw you guys doing. Yeah. So they got that working now too. I saw that on your video earlier. So you click on that and it takes you to the next one. Now what happens here? Does that take me back to the one before it? Yeah, okay. It's a little clunky, and I see what it's doing up top in the address line, but it does take you back now. So what I'm going to show you is going to make this even cooler. So I just did this just within the code itself. I came in here and was playing with the code, and I can't move that out of the way. I'll leave that open. So what I did is just to colorize the background here, just make it more visual for you to be able to see. But you come in here and we're going to now click anywhere on this element. So we're just going to click here and ignore the alert up here. I can't get it to turn off. And boom, what'd that do? That just opened up that lesson that normally would be on the next page. If we click on it again, it will close it. And we come down to the next one. We click on it and it opens it. And of course, I would have this scroll up to the top like that on each one. And then knowing how this is basically now a previous next button. So I could recode these buttons, or depending on how we can build these templates, ideally, I would have a page like this, but I could have it so that there's no header. We would keep the name here. Well, actually, we don't even need the name there because we have the name right up above it. And I stuck the same iframe in each one of these here. So that's why you're seeing the same lesson over and over again. But we still have our hook story offer. We could take out the header, we could take out this title, and we could even take out these buttons and or change those buttons. And then all you would have is the video and the two buttons below it or above it or wherever we wanted at that point for basically the previous next. And then the way they have it set apparently is so you mark complete and moves you to the next one immediately. Not sure if I like that or not. We could, once we start playing with the code, we can make this thing look however we want. But what I did is that now takes out the problem of having to go to that next page, completely losing your wayfinding. Here you can just click on these here. And then what we could also do is, so if we click that this one is now complete in here, we could put something up here that noted that it was now completed as well. And then somebody could just come in here, look at this, look at their list and go, okay, this one's completed, this one's completed, this one's completed. Okay, here's where I left off. Let's just click here, opens it right up on this page. Oh, I didn't do that one yet. So we'll pretend this was that one. Well, come on. Oh, I went down too far. That was it. I only did the first three. And it would open it up. And so again, we can take all this off on this template, I'm assuming, and jam it all in here together. And there you go. So you go from your 4 boxes. I don't want to click on that because I have to look at my code again. So we click on the 4 boxes. We go from there to here. We click on this and the content slides down. So I was actually able to do all that right inside of the editor right here. And yeah, that'll be simple, especially the previous next on here, because then all we're doing is we're just stepping down the DOM tree, going from one to the next to the next to the next, basically just like we do in 1.0. So I think there's going to be, I think it may be better than we thought. It's just going to take a little bit of code, which of course I can sell to people and become filthy rich. So.
All right, we are back to us now. Let me get my chat off of there. Okay, so sorry guys, the Andrea and Dan were not able to watch that along with us unless you guys were tuning in on your mobile. But yeah, what thoughts, comments, reactions?
I think that was the greatest presentation I've ever.
Well, yes, go on. No, I mean, I think the interesting thing that you gave us in that, Dan, is one, you gave me hope in terms of the same way that you have taught us to manipulate 1.0, the hope of being able to do that in 2.0 is there. So that was the first thing, which really then if we're able to manipulate it, the sky's the limit in terms of our own creativity of how we can create better experiences, if we know how to manipulate it. So that was at least me when you first saw it. The second thing is, again, just trying to like condense what feels like right now 1 million clicks into a more cohesive experience in terms of just being able to see that content right there and being able to navigate that in fewer clicks and more to the point on that one page. Those were the two biggest things that I saw when you showed it to me. I was like, oh yeah, that's awesome. That's exciting.
Well, yeah. And the other thing is the format I had there is what I really refer to as a mobile first format, where everything is stacked up in one column. You could still go 2 columns wide and do it similar to the other stuff. You could do it similar to the Kajabi ones that I've built. Once we figure it out and it actually worked, and I'm assuming that because I was able to do it in the editor, we can get it to work on the other. Don't know yet. But after that, then we're just manipulating boxes on the screen.
Yeah.
And that's all this really comes down to, is we're taking box from here and we're putting it over here, and we can move it around, make it look different. And that's all it is.
Very exciting. Yeah.
It's very exciting. Cool. I agree. It's just exciting to see that. I mean, even though we're still waiting to actually get our hands on there and get in there and have the pros start playing around with coding, it is cool and encouraging to see like there's possibilities. There are like, yeah, it's opening up ideas and it's already getting my creative brain going. Like, okay, cool. Like this is what we can do with that. And it's just exciting. We're getting closer to it.
Yeah. Okay. Brill just joined and he asked a question that, Brill, you're going to get me up on my soapbox and I'm just going to hop right on there. And then Dan, maybe you can pull me off. So Brill asked a question about SEO. Okay. So let's talk about SEO in a little bit of depth. So this is when people, what I have found in my deep dives into into Dan's brain, into SEO world, into Tanner Jones, big shout out, who's also an SEO expert in this space. What I have found is that I think that when people say, oh, ClickFunnels doesn't rank up like on the SEO like WordPress, it is a marketing technique to get people to go back to WordPress away from ClickFunnels, but it is not grounded in a lot of truth. So let's talk about what I mean by that, because you might be like, no, Andrea, it's true. WordPress is better at SEO than ClickFunnels. And on the surface, that statement alone is absolutely true. But, and this is a giant but, it depends if you are full on embracing a ClickFunnels strategy in your approach to your sales, your marketing and your sales. So if you are embracing a ClickFunnels strategy, the heart of that strategy is I go from a social media to my lead gen or my sales page, or I go from an ad to my lead gen or my sales page. It's a very direct path. And then what I don't get in that, I'm going to do through my follow-up funnels, right? Typically email. So if that is your strategy, then let's talk about SEO. So you're going to go out onto WordPress and you're going to do your SEO, whatever you can do with Yoast SEO, as Dan likes to call it, your army of one with the Yoast SEO, versus Facebook, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram SEO. You're going to lose. So in the ClickFunnels strategy, SEO really doesn't matter as much as we think it does. You can still always do like the keyword and the SEO stuff on a ClickFunnels page, which will get you a little bit of lift. But if you're relying on that, and if you're relying on SEO, I would contend that you're not following and embracing a funnel strategy. You're embracing an old school website mentality of trying to find traffic. And then finally, the last one, and then I'll get off my soapbox and you guys can jump in, is that, so the blog front. That was for me like the last thing of like, well, should people still stay on WordPress because of blogs? So I think last that we looked, and Dan, you and I were talking about this, Medium, which is a blog platform, has 10 million viewers a month. Okay, no matter what you do on WordPress, Medium is going to beat you. So again, like put your blogs out on Medium. You can embed a Medium into a ClickFunnels page and still reap the same benefit. So the SEO question is not as straightforward as is ClickFunnels better at SEO than WordPress? You're asking the wrong question. But okay, I'm gonna step down from my soapbox. Dan, do you want to share a little bit about the link you just shared?
Yeah, I just dropped 2 links in there. One is we had half an hour long at least conversation about SEO in the Membership Ninjas site one day, and I recorded it, and I just dropped that link in there. But then also I broke down what we know so far about what they're going to do the SEO in CF 2.0, which is essentially you're going to have the same stuff as so just watch that video I dropped in there. You're going to have the same stuff as you would on a WordPress blog. So you're going to be able to put in keywords. You're going to be able to put in tags and what else am I thinking here? What are the taxonomies you have in WordPress?
Interlinks, links, metadata,
the categories and tags. Yeah. Categories and tags, all that kind of stuff. And I talk about in the one video there is the whole idea of having a silo effect. So you come into you come into a blog and you have a whole list of icons across the top or links across the top. And one of them says swimming pool parts. And you click on that and it drops down and has a whole list of different swimming pool parts. And then you click on one of those and opens up another tab that drops down and it has a whole list of that particular part. You're looking for a skimmer basket and you got, 5 different skimmer baskets. All of that is internal linking inside of that blog. Now, are you going to be able to do it to that degree inside of ClickFunnels? Probably not to that degree, but it's certainly a lot better than it had been. And most WordPress sites even don't use the silos anymore. I mean, there's some big news sites and things like that, but most people are running a single person blog. They're putting up 5-10 different posts, and they got maybe a little bit of internal linking if they even know how to set it up or if they know how important it is, which is like the most important thing. And the reason why you would use WordPress is for the internal linking, but then you still have to get external linking, et cetera, et cetera. So as Andrea said, with something like a Medium, you have the people who run Medium actively every day going out and getting external links into their platform. And then once in the platform, everything in there is interconnected. So you are collaborating with thousands of other people, plus people who are actively working to make this work. Whereas if you're creating your own single blog, it's just you, baby. And depending on where you're hosting that blog or where it's at and who you're associated with, it may not be worth anything to you. Because so there's this one big company out there that I used to do some training for, and they run what is known as a WordPress multi-site. So they say, oh, they're better than ClickFunnels because of blah, blah, blah. Well, no, they're exactly the same, because ClickFunnels does exactly the same thing. You got ClickFunnels and then you got your subdomain within ClickFunnels. With this other platform, you have their WordPress platform, and then you have a subdomain within their WordPress platform. Now you can apply a custom domain to that, but that's just like putting a lampshade on it because it's still in that same place. And so if the neighborhood is crappy, you're going to get crappy results as well. So, SEO, again, I agree with SEO, but again, as you said, with funnels, it's all about getting traffic to those funnels somehow.
Yeah.
Now for the funnel hub, there you're going to be able to create the content. You're going to be able to do your categories and your tags and your internal linking within the funnel hub. And then you're going to be able to link out to your funnels. But for a single operator, SEO is very, very difficult. I don't care what anybody says.
I 100% agree. And I think too that we forget that SEO falls under organic traffic strategy. And within the organic traffic strategy world, there are far better strategies if you are embracing a funnel strategy than an SEO first. So I would encourage you, I can drop some links, but Neil Patel, Jenna Larson, Rachel Miller, these are folks that have far better organic traffic strategies for you than trying to learn the SEO world and be an army of one, as you would say, Dan.
Well, Neil Patel did a video the other day. I only watched part of it because, frankly, he kind of bores me. But the title of it, well, I mean, you've seen him. He stands there.
He's a little rough sometimes.
He basically reads a script.
Yeah.
So there's no graphics. There's no nothing.
Yeah.
But he basically the title of the video was something to the effect of, stop letting the gurus lie to you about SEO.
Yes.
He basically said SEO is a bunch of crap.
It is. Yes.
And
Thank you. I'm
even
so
though
glad
this
to hear
guy
that from
sells
him.
SEO, he sells SEO, but he's like, SEO is a bunch of crap, and you've been lied to for years about it.
It's a little bit like hashtags, right? Like we overdo it on hashtags a lot of times, in terms of like it's the savior of being found on social. It's like we just have to get the hashtags right, and that's not true. It's a part of the equation, but
Well, and then what's the algorithm and all that too?
Exactly.
And well, in part of that presentation on SEO, we went through the history of Google. And what I say in there is the history of SEO is the history of Google, because that is SEO. Let's not kid ourselves. It's their search engine. They made this stuff up, and they're changing it every single day.
Yep. But Brill, let me extend to you, because the three of us geek out about this all the time. And as you can tell, we're kind of passionate, especially on the SEO front. We would welcome your questions in the Facebook group too. So it's always a really interesting conversation. And so would welcome your perspective or other questions about it as well.
Awesome.
And there's going to be tons of 2.0 training coming out, Brill, so you can lose that other
platform
that you were building.
There you go. All right. I think we're going to wrap it up. Dan, thank you for joining us and showing us some really awesome stuff. I'm so ready to see like actual training coming out. I know you're going to be right on top of it. So
I just want to see the software come out.
Yeah, that and then all the rest to come with it. It's just interesting being in a holding pattern. Okay. All right.
We want to talk logistics really quick. So nothing next week for Christmas Eve, right? I think still probably TBD on the 31st, depending on what happens, maybe.
Yeah, I think for CF 2.0 Geek Out, the next time that you see us will be either the 31st or the 7th. We'll play it by ear and we'll let you guys know what we're going to do.
It'll be the 7th.
Yeah. Depends if they release something after Christmas. I'm holding
out. Christmas. They're all on vacation. Come on.
They're going to probably buy as much time as they can too. Like, oh, it's Christmas. Like that'll give us some more time.
No one's watching.
It's President's Day.
I would prefer that it works. I would prefer it works when it comes out, because everybody and their brother who runs a different platform or has affinity to a different platform is going to be gunning for these guys.
Oh yeah.
And they know it. And so you're going to have 5,000 people hit this software in one day. And no matter what, it is going to break. And the less breakage they have, the better. Because like I said, everybody's going to want to try to make them look bad.
Yeah. Very true. It's a great perspective on it, for sure.
So here's to the early adopters and the early majority that are going to like go fight win on the ClickFunnels front and talk about how wonderful it is.
It'll just
something like that.
Weed out the people that don't have enough faith.
Exactly.
All right.
Awesome.
We're going to sign off and we will see you guys in probably a couple weeks. Have a great holiday with your family, and if anything happens between now and the next time we go live, for sure we'll be dropping posts into the Facebook group. So
keep your ear to the ground.
All right, everybody. Take care.
Bye, guys.